But here's the article that actually just came out recently about their release from house arrest. Romanian court releases influencer Andrew Tate and his brother from house arrest pending trial. So here's the deal. The Bucharest Court of Appeals replaced the house arrest measure with that of a judicial control period of 60 days from August 4th until October 2nd. So he's got 60 days of non-house arrest. And I'm not an attorney, but I'll play one on the Soscast. So here's what happens under judicial control. There are basically three main rules if you're keeping up with the Tate story, if you want to know what's going on there. Rule number one, the Tate brothers can leave their house, but not the city of Bucharest.
Okay,
all right, cool.
That's fine.
They're saying they're not a flight risk. They're allowed to leave their house. Not sure how much time they're going to spend leaving their house, but if they want to, you're allowed to leave the house. By the way, their house, the compound I would call it, absolutely sick. If there's a place to be on house arrest, not a bad place to be, from my experience. Didn't feel like I was in jail or basically dealing with anything non-fun being in the Tate compound. It was great.
Nice.
Number two of the judicial control, three main things. Number two, they have to regularly check in with Romanian police. We get it. You understand.
Yeah.
There's check-in. There's protocol with that. Here's actually the funniest one. Not so much funny, but number three, they cannot visit their alleged victims. Here's the funny part with that. I don't think they exist. Okay? I think they're just scrambling, that they've been looking for victims. Nobody has actually come forward. No actual real names, no credible sources. It's all allegedly, it's all hearsay. A lot of it, they track down people in the UK from 10 years ago, someone that they may or may not have a relationship with 10 years ago in the UK.
No.
Basically, has nothing to do with Romania, or certainly in Bucharest. So interesting enough, so the boys are back. The boys are back in town. So shout out to those guys. I reached out to their team. They actually were very positive. They were ecstatic. They were happy.
Good.
And the overall message was like, yeah, we knew this were coming.
Of course.
Because we're innocent. And there's nothing, there was no there. There's no crime there. And they knew, in the interviews we said, it's like, where are they finding these people? Who are these alleged victims? Nobody has said anything. And sort of humorously, they were like, so we're being convicted of trafficking girls who did TikToks for us, and we took all their TikTok money. I don't know anybody that's making money from TikTok. And if it is, it's very little. And he goes, who in the world spends 35 years becoming a businessman, kickboxer, influencer, and then all of a sudden just decides to do human trafficking?
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. So, I think those guys are innocent. I've been saying that more and more loud and proud. The mainstream media will have you believe he's a misogynist and all these sorts of things, and a human trafficker. He's just the freaking top G. He's a dude that's doing his thing. Here's sort of their message of what they had to say. So Tate was like, it's a counterattack, baby. Counterattack on the Matrix. I was like, respect, dude. Good for you guys. Tristan was like, look, this is a long time coming. And he basically said if there's any evidence, they would have kept them locked up, but they didn't. The Romanian government knows that they messed up. So I think this is going to be a slow drip of, all right, you're off house arrest. All right, we didn't really find anything. All right. And allegedly what will happen, just like how they get Hoffa and all these other guys, is some sort of tax evasion. They'll pay a fine. They'll take millions of dollars from them, but they will have their freedom. When that happens, play this clip and be like, yep, Sos nailed it. After being there, after seeing what they do, how they live their lives, having experienced who they actually are in front of the camera, but more importantly, behind the camera,
right.
I can tell you with utmost certainty, they are not guilty of these alleged charges, but we'll see. This is basically how I would put it, a step in the right direction for their innocence, and it's great news for the Tates and for friends of the Tates and the Tate camp. MLK has said the moral arc of the universe is long, okay? But it bends towards justice. So they've been dealing with this thing for months and months and months and months. It might take more months. It may take another year or so, but I believe firmly that they will be acquitted of all charges, because I just do not think this adds up. By the way, we have a picture. We're going to sort of recapping some of our experiences in the last week, but also in the last month when we did the Tate interview. Here's a picture of us with the Tates right after we did the interview. It was awesome. Great experience. PBD, Tate, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, and little Sos out there. It was great. It was right after we did the interview. We were treated royally, unreasonable hospitality to a major extent. And they have advocates that the mainstream media will not advocate. Tucker was one of the few people that actually interviewed them, that has been advocating for them, as well as Candace Owens, as well as our friend Jay Waller, who was just on the show recently. I believe we have a picture of him right after the show. This good-looking 6'4" gingerbread stud was out here. We have that picture, Malik? Yeah, there's Jay Waller doing his thing. He's been one of the few people who has a major name that has been basically singing their praises on what they do over there in their network, which was formerly known as Hustlers University, which is now the Real World, which also, what's the group that they all do? Help me out in the chat here, guys.
Is it War Room?
The War Room. Thank you, Malik. Shine a light on Malik right there. The War Room right there. There's a lot on my mind right now, but respect to them. But long story short, I think those guys are absolute studs, and we will see their acquittal in no time. Here's a clip, actually, from Tate, what he had to say when Romanian journalists went out to visit him right outside his compound, just to put an exclamation mark on what he's got going on. Go ahead.
When I was thrown in a jail cell, the media reported and told the world that I was a terrible person. They said that I hurt people and I make a lot of money from criminal enterprise, and here we stand 7 or 8 months later and I've not seen a single victim on the news. I don't know if you have. I've seen lots of girls sticking up for me, lots of people defending me. I've not seen a single person stand up and say that I have hurt them, not one. It's very exhausting to continue to perpetuate lies. It's very hard to keep lies afloat when you have no actual evidence. We've been completely innocent since the beginning of this, and I have to give absolute faith to the Romanian judicial system for finally making the right decision and letting us free. I'm sure in the end we'll be absolutely exonerated, and everybody who was pushing these lies and reporting things on repeat without any substantial evidence are going to have to analyze within themselves why they decide to try and destroy people's lives purely for views. I've done nothing wrong. God knows I've done nothing wrong. In my heart, I know I've done nothing wong. I think the people at home who with a functioning brain understand we've done nothing wrong, because nobody has yet to identify a single victim which is saying that we've done anything to them since the beginning of this entire process. In January, when I was thrown in a jail cell, the media report.
Okay, keep playing that clip.
That I hurt people and I make a lot of money from criminal enterprise, and here we stand 7 or 8 months later and I've not seen a single victim on the news. I don't know if you have. I've seen lots of girls sticking up for me, lots of people defending me. I've not seen a single person stand up and say that I have.
So, I mentioned it previously, there's no there there. It's almost like they charged him, they accused him of all these things, but they're scrambling to look for people to basically say, yes, I'm a victim. They found no one. And as Tate said, it's hard to keep the lies afloat when you have no evidence. So I believe that they will be acquitted. By the way, we're going to do a poll in the chat. Do you think the Tates are innocent? So put innocent, Matrix attacked, or guilty of charges. Put that over there. Our audience, I would assume, knows better and knows that this is a complete Matrix attack. So we'll talk on that, and we'll actually reference some of the alleged stories with Nick Fuentes, how it would correlate him with Tate as well. So, long story short, when you see him saying like this, I know a lot of women. I don't know a lot of men that give me pushback to like, yo, dude, what's Tate like? It's sick, it's awesome. But a lot of women will be like, so you're friends with him? How could you do this? Would you do that? And I'll say, what has he said that offends you? And a lot of them will be like, well, he says that women can't drive, or that the husband will take property of the wife, and cite sort of biblical lines that he's referenced before. We know that he's a religious man. He was a Christian that has converted to Islam. From the eyes of a woman, why do you think women have such a hard time digesting what Tate has said and even what he's saying now?
I think it just comes from a place where that whole feminist organization just kind of, Tate is getting in the way of that whole feminist movement. And so women who like the idea of women being in charge and being the one making those final big decisions, it affects what they're trying to do. So just by default, you hear women, they react to the shortest clip that they see of him, and that's just their persona and their view on someone like this. But can I tell you, like, seeing the clip of him after they release him from house arrest, I think it's exciting, because now it's like we're almost what's the word? We're almost required for an answer on why did you do this to him? Why did you cancel somebody who's now that you're deeming innocent? What were you looking for in the long term? And, you know, women today, I think, even their perspective has changed to more, they're a little bit more receptive to Tate's message, especially seeing someone like him being so, you know, almost outlandish with some of the things that he's saying, to taking a step back and going, hey, there's some truth to it. Hey, I see his perspective. And sometimes, you know, people, they have to kind of be put in that public eye, and they have to say these bold things for sometimes a message to get across. But I think a lot of the time today, I'm seeing actually a lot of women, at least on my feed, they're agreeing with Tate and his perspective. And I love to see it, because it's kind of like, you know, you have somebody who is for women, but he's also explaining what men want from women. And a lot of the time, you know, we talk all the time, a lot of women don't know what men want. So the best way to get that information is to get it from a man. So, you know, to see someone like Tate kind of go through this journey, and it's sad to see, but as much as it was awful, I think it really showed the world a side of Tate that needed to be shown. This also was very interesting to see, and I think what's going to be interesting to see moving forward is how his perspective has changed from before, you know, when Tate was on his come up, to Tate going to jail, to Tate out of jail, to interviews with different people who are looking for things out of him. So it's very interesting. I'm excited to see like that version of Tate. You know, he even brought up with Candace Owens in that interview about marriage. You know, so you have somebody who went viral on some of the things that he said about marriage. Now he's kind of changing his perspective based on the things that he went through. So I'm excited to see this version of Tate. You know, I think it's needed in the world, and I think a lot of women needed that message. Can I tell you, as much as women got irritated and they may hate this guy and whatever opinion, I think women, you needed the message, and you need to get it across. And, you know, I think it will help you find the man you're looking for, and also kind of humble yourself, right? Maybe we're thinking about making certain decisions, and after hearing certain feedback from these individual type of men, that will help you reconsider some of the decisions you make. And sometimes you need that before you make a decision. So
sometimes women need to hear the cold hard truth.
Yes.
Sometimes that's tough to digest, and it's not palatable. But he does speak a lot of facts.
Yeah.
And as for you men out there, don't be ashamed to be a man. Don't be ashamed to have standards. Don't be ashamed to have boundaries. Tate is all about that message. And you might not be a 4-time kickboxing champion, multimillionaire, Bugatti driving, ass kicking top G, but be a man and work on yourself and improve and work out. Get your money right, get your game right, get your personality right. Be a good person, be a good citizen, deliver value to your work, to deliver value to society, and only good things will come. Don't believe the feminine message of just basically toxic masculinity, and men need to be more sensitive and more emotional. That's a component of being present with your woman, but it is not the overlying message that men should be striving for. You should strive to be a rational, stoic, strong man, to protect your woman, not the other side of the equation, of the spectrum, which is the weak, feminine, Dylan Mulvaney-esque, trans, there's no difference between a man and a woman component narrative that's been pushed out there.
Yep.
You're a man, be a man, and good things will happen if you do good things. So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another, or if you want to watch the entire Soscast, click right here.